all the good people in our lives. Recently, I came of age to apply for Social Security, and I went to the Social Security office where I filled out my application, and the administrator provided me with a piece of paper that I was supposed to scan and look at each year my stated earnings to just make sure that they were correct. And so I started the task of looking each year at what I had earned, and my mind started to wander. As I look back to my early years when I was in school, in high school and in college, and making $1.25 an hour, working in minimum wage jobs, and who I was and what I was doing each year, I was able to take a look at my life in a very interesting way, because while I was supposed to look at my earnings, I actually started to think about who are the people in my life at any particular year and what was happening. And what came to me as kind of an aha moment was how many good people there were who had been in my life at different stages who made a huge difference. So let me tell you one story that made a profound difference in my life. I was at Queens College, City University of New York, very similar to San Francisco State, commuter college, lived at home with my parents, earned very little money working, and I was a good student. I was in the communication department. The teachers knew me. I had good grades, good projects, all ready to go to graduate school where I thought that would enable me to become a professional. Well, unfortunately, the system failed me. And the transcript, instead of my being cum laude and having a 3.2 average, sent it out with a 2.7 average incorrectly. And the graduate schools that I had applied to did not give me any scholarships. Well, being the fact that I was making so little money at that point in my life, that my parents didn't have the kind of money to send me to graduate school, I was devastated, because the idea that I would not be able to continue my education without some kind of financial support just derailed me. Well, it just so happened that the teachers who I spoke to in my department recognized what a terrible thing this was, and because they knew me and because I was a good student, one of them, Forbes Hill, someone who I hadn't even taken a class with, called the chair of the communications department at Denver University, told him what happened, and I got a full waiver of tuition. Not only did I get a full waiver of tuition, I drove across the country 2 weeks early and applied for jobs and became an administrator at a dorm. And so I was able to get a full waiver of tuition, not have to pay for graduate school, and have a stipend and a place to live and room and board, all of which was due to one good person, a professor who made a phone call on my behalf. So when I look at my life and you look at yours and think of the good people in your life, and by a good person, I mean someone who does something for someone else with no expectation of return, financial reward. There was nothing in it for Forbes Hill to make that call on my behalf. And yet that call and that person changed my life. So my question to you is, who are the Forbes Hill in your life? What are you doing to kind of pay it forward? I can tell you that when a student asks me for a recommendation to go into graduate school, I'm so happy to do it if it's a well-deserving student who I know, because I remember what Forbes Hill did for me. So, who are the good people in your life? And are you a good person in other people's lives? These are the questions that really matter.